So this section is going to be talking about fruits and vegetables and fibre. So our fruits and veggies are underrated, they really are. And they're not a fun thing, however, they're very, very good for us. So they contain lots of beneficial compounds, fibre, vitamins, minerals, antioxidants. They prevent and protect against heart disease, cancer, obesity, all sorts of different things. So they're very good for us. And that's the reason the government goes on about fruits and vegetables. And you might have seen that Go for 2 and 5 campaign with the Veggie Man, and that's tying in with that as well. So how much do we need per day? 2 fruit serves and 5 serves of vegetables. And that's very rough, that's a generalised guide, but that fits most people quite well. So what am I talking about? What do I mean a serve? What is a serve of fruit? What is a serve of vegetables? Well, 1 serve of fruit is 1 apple or 1 banana, 1 reasonable sized piece of fruit. And I said this once to a group and he said, 1 piece of fruit. And I said, what, 1 watermelon? And everybody laughed. But it is. It's a medium-sized piece of fruit or 2 smaller bits. A cup of canned fruit or fruit salad. And what do we want to do with the canned fruit? Drain off the juice. Because even if it is in fruit juice or syrup, it's still quite high in sugar, either or. So we want to drain that off and just eat the pieces of fruit. And 1/2 cup of juice occasionally also counts as 1 serve of fruit. So we want to include fresh fruit, dried fruit if you may, keeping in mind that dried fruit is dried, so the water's gone out of it. So it's quite easy to eat sort of, a tablespoon of sultanas. That might have, 6, 7, 8, 20 sultanas in it. I'm not quite sure how many really. But then when you actually go to eat 20 grapes, that's quite a big bunch of grapes, isn't it? And that'd fill you up quite a lot. So do keep an eye out for that bit of a trap with dried fruit of eating a lot of it, as it still has the same amount of calories in it as your normal fruit. Tinned fruit as well, and juice occasionally, and we'll talk about that in just a moment. Moving on to your vegetables, 5 serves a day of vegetables. 5 serves, well, what is a serve? Well, I could have had mine today, 1 olive, and then I had 2 cherry tomatoes in my salad, and then I had a stick of celery with some peanut butter. That's 3. I think I had some cucumber yesterday, or maybe that was the day before. So it's not the type of veggies, it's how much. So we're talking about the quantity when we talk about a serve. So 1 serve is 1 cup of salad veggies or 1/2 cup of cooked veggies. So it also includes 1/2 cup of cooked legumes as well, that counts, or a smallish potato. So we can include fresh, frozen, canned veggies or legumes as part of that 5 serves a day. But if you think about it, 5 serves a day is a fair bit. And people often say to me, how can I lose weight? And I think, well, the first step to try is making sure that you are getting your 2 serves of fruit and 5 serves of veggies, because that fills you up quite a bit and it displaces other things that you might eat too. And it's a really healthy thing to do for yourself. Get that extra fibre, it helps keep you fuller for longer. So if you think about your day and you're the type of person that has your veggies but you only have them at dinner time, well then you're left with 2.5 cups of cooked veggies or 5 cups of salad veggies. Well, that's a fair bit to contend with in the evening meal, isn't it? So what that shows us is we need to throw it back into the day. So you might have some grilled mushrooms or some tomato at breakfast, particularly on the weekends. That's quite nice to have. Or morning tea might be some, snacks of, whatever your favourite fruit or veggie is. I particularly love cherry tomatoes if they're in season because they're quite sweet, and I'm happy to just eat them as is. You can dip them in something if you like. You want to have some salad at lunchtime, either on a sandwich or a salad with a tin of tuna or some chicken or something mixed in. Afternoon tea maybe if you are hungry, and then at dinner time you're not left with as many veggies to eat, and that's a good way of fitting them in over the day. So there's some ideas here for fruits and vegetables for you. Try and make them part of every meal and snack. In terms of your plate, balancing your plate as well is really important. So if you've got a normal size plate, whatever your size, eating to, until you're satisfied rather than full, you want to have half your plate covered by veggies or salad, which is a lot really if you think about it. 1/4 of your plate should be lean protein, good quality meat, fish, chicken or alternatives. And then 1/4 of it is your complex carbohydrates, so your grains, breads and cereals like rice, pasta, noodles, the whole grain varieties if you can. And that's a perfect balanced plate. Trying to have legumes a couple times a week. They're pretty tricky to sort of integrate into your meal if you're not used to it, but chickpeas go in in salads or stews or soups. You can use those red kidney beans. They make your mince go further in things like bologneses, shepherd's pie, that kind of thing. So being a bit creative and looking through recipes and things. With your fruits and veggies, like I was saying before, it's really important that when you go to your grocer or to your supermarket, that you actually are choosing a range of different colours, because each different colour provides a unique set of nutrients, particularly your antioxidants. So for instance, your tomatoes, if you cut it open you think, oh, that's bright red in the middle, or your capsicum, well, that's got a lot of lycopene in it. Your dark green leafy veggies like your spinach and that type of thing, they have folate in them, and that's that green pigmentation. Your yellow-orange ones like your squash, pumpkin, they've got your beta-carotene in them. So getting a different variety and mixture. So there's some ideas there about including fruits and veggies that you can have a read through as well that might give you a few ideas. What about juicing? Well, I always find that people who like juicing are very, very into their juicing. So they have a juicer and they juice everything, and I've got some friends who put apple and carrot and celery, which is reasonable, and then they might put kale and then they'll put beetroot, and you just think, goodness, that's like a salad in a meal. Is that good or is it bad? Well, neither really. If that's the only way you're going to get them in, that's okay. I would prefer to chop them all up and have them as a salad because I like that crunch. But what do you lose when you juice a fruit or vegetable? The fibre. And that's the part that keeps us full and satisfied. It's good for our bowel health, it's good for our cholesterol levels, so we want to try and retain that fibre if we can. So my perspective is, if you can eat the fruit rather than juicing it, that's the healthiest thing to do. So if you're thinking about orange juice, you think about a little cup of orange juice that big, that's probably taken 4 oranges, the equivalent of, to make that glass of juice. You think before lunchtime you could drink that juice and you're ready for your lunch. Doesn't really fill you up, does it? But if you cut up 4 oranges and you sat down at the table and you tried to eat your way through all 4 oranges, you'd be really full by the end of it, wouldn't you, if you could even fit the 4th orange in. So that just shows us that it is better to eat the whole juice. The other thing is, juice is very high in sugar. So fruit, we'll talk about sugar soon, but fruit does have sugar in it. And yes, it is natural sugar, but there's that natural thing again. Just because it's natural doesn't mean it's good for us. What are some other examples? Fat's natural, lard is natural, snake venom's natural, tobacco, alcohol's natural. Doesn't mean that because it's natural it's good for us. So it does have natural sugar in it, but if you can picture a 600 ml bottle of juice, that's got about 42 grams of sugar in it, which is about 8.4 teaspoons. Now when you make your tea and coffee, would you put 9 teaspoons of sugar in it? Probably not. A lot of people say things like, oh, but Coke, that's very, very high in sugar, so people say I would never have a lot of Coke. But orange juice is a bit better for you. Well, yes, orange juice has vitamin C, but that's about all really. It's lost that fibre. And compared to a Coke, which has 63 grams of sugar, they're fairly similar, aren't they? So again, always eating the fruit.